So I wanted to come in here and talk a little bit today about owning the year and what you can do to really kind of level things up and improve the results you get in 2023. And I think it's a really good time to sort of sit down and, map it out a little bit more as we get to the end of the month. And the end of the year, it's a really good time to sort of reflect and think, okay, right, what do I want to achieve in 2023? And I think it's important to do that before the new year, because you want to head into the new year already having a really good idea of, how you want to feel, the goals that you want to achieve. And this can be, professionally, it can be in your personal life. Obviously, I'm going to focus today on talking through your goals in regards to fitness and like general well-being and performance, more along that side of things. So the first thing that you want to do, and this is something that I do with all of my clients as well, is you want to have a skeleton plan. You want to have a rough outline of what you want to achieve in the year. So the best way to do this is to actually look long term and think, okay, right, this time next year, so December 2023, where do I want to be? What do I want to have achieved? How do I want to feel? And I would actually sit down and do this as a bit of a reflective exercise. So, get a notebook, put a bit of nice music on, whatever you need to do to get yourself in the zone, and just spend 10-15 minutes, no distractions, and just really have a good think about what you want to achieve. Because I think it's really, really easy to kind of fumble your way through, make your way through the weeks, and then you end up at the end of another year being in exactly the same position, not actually being any closer to where you truly feel happy. So I think first off, it's really important to actually dedicate a good amount of time to sit down and think, right, where do I see myself? Where do I want to be by the end of 2023? Because then you know what you're working towards, and you need to have that not an end goal, but you need to have a direction. You need to have sort of an idea of how you want to feel, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a specific goal from an aesthetic perspective, but having an idea of your why as such can be really helpful. And what you can then do is actually break that down and do a skeleton plan. So this is a rough outline of where you want to go. So the way that I do this with my clients is we actually break this down into 3-month phases. So over the course of the year, over 12 months, they will have basically 4 phases, and each one of those phases is 3 months long, and it has specific outcomes attached to that time frame. So for example, it might be January to March, May to July, etc., and it will roll through. And what we then do is, say you've got this end goal, you can then break that down and say, right, okay, so what do I need to do to actually move myself forwards towards that goal? And you can then break that down into specific phases and set yourself mini goals as such. So rather than it being kind of one huge goal that is way far off in the future, you can chunk that down and look, okay, from if I want to achieve XYZ by December 2023, what do I need to do, first? What's the first thing I need to do to move myself forward? And then you can think, right, okay, so when I get to this point by the end of March, what do I need to do through April, May, June? So you can sort of chunk that down into 4 blocks that is going to accumulate basically to get you to that longer term goal at the end of the year. So what you then need to do is, once you've set those specific goals, you then need to spend a bit of time actually reviewing those goals at the end of that 3-month period, because otherwise, again, you just end up kind of fumbling your way through and you don't know whether you've achieved those goals or whether it's realistic. So what I really recommend doing, and this is something that I do as well, is at the end of each quarter, so you've got quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, at the end of each quarter, actually sit down, review your goals and think, okay, did I achieve these goals? If not, why not? And then, okay, what do I want to do next? And you can sort of plan and solidify each phase then, and make sure that, you've hit specific targets, and you can then look at, right, what's going to be the next goal for me as such. And then remember, this is linked towards that longer term goal at the end of the year. It's just reviewing, and then you might actually find you need to adjust things. So taking it into a fitness perspective, if I've got a client that wants to potentially feel the most confident they've ever felt, they want to work towards a photo shoot, they want to maybe get, be the leanest they've ever been, feel really confident, basically have a little bit more muscle, we might work that down and say, right, okay, we're going to spend the first kind of 2 phases really working on getting you really consistent in the gym, getting you nice and strong, going through form analysis to make sure we've got that locked in, and kind of working your calories up to a really high level and getting that nice and consistent, so we know that, you know, we're going to spend those first kind of 6 months really building some muscle and getting that routine and structure locked in. And then, you know, we're going to aim towards that shoot towards the end, so then we might spend the last 2 phases actually going through a little bit of a fat loss phase to pull off the body fat, working towards a shoot. So you can see how that is obviously very specific to that goal, but having a rough idea of where you're going to be at certain points of the year can be massively helpful to give you that like overall plan and structure. And then, like I said, you just need to sort of review and adjust it and make sure that you are still acting in alignment of your goal. And it just means then, rather than kind of going to the gym and saying, okay, I'm going to go into 23, I'm going to go to the gym more and I'm going to eat better. It's like they are so generic. Whereas if you can kind of really highlight, okay, this is where I want to be, this is how I want to feel, these are the steps that I need to be taking over January, February, March to start to move myself forward, and make those really, really specific as well. This is something we're going to be talking a bit more about in a later video, but making those goals really actionable and specific, so they're things you can actually tick off. So rather than saying, I'm going to go to the gym more, you can say, right, I'm going to go to the gym X times a week on these days at these times, and these are the sessions that I'm going to follow. So, you know, really making it actionable and clear. You can then set specific targets from that January to March period that are going to start to accumulate towards that bigger goal, and then reviewing it regularly as well. So, you know, making sure that you are taking ownership of your year. You've got clear goals, you know exactly what you need to be hitting, and that's broken down into time frame chunks. It will literally change the game for you.